everyone, welcome to Lady in the Red Bandana. Today I have with me one of my very, very special friends, Erin from Erin Ablett Wellness. So hello Erin.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, very well, thank you. So I'm just going to hand it over to you if you just tell the viewers and the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I am a nutritional advisor and a fitness instructor, but I take a holistic approach to things, and that's where I've found my niche. So what that basically means is taking a step back and looking at the whole picture when it comes to health and body image and weight loss. And I think that's the reason a lot of diets don't work, and we sort of get bored quite quickly with workouts because we're just focusing on one thing, when actually our health, mental and physical, is built up with so many different components and they all need to be working together. So that's what I do then with my holistic approach, is taking a step back, looking at everything all together. So ultimately helping people to feel happy within themselves, both how they look and how they feel.
Awesome. So obviously you've gone into the fitness realm, because that's what it is. And there are so many different avenues that you could have gone down, because there's so much available right now. So what made you want to go into this? What made you want to go into this area?
I think for me, it's a lot of my own journey, which I suppose is what happens a lot with when people set up businesses as well. They go through something and they want to help other people who might be in the position that they were in. And I think probably similar to a lot of people out there, I've gained a lot of weight because I didn't really understand food and what it did to my body. I lost weight in the wrong way. And I just thought, we try and do the best for our bodies, but then once you go to Google, it's just mind-blowing and a bit overwhelming, isn't it? And there's just a bit too much information, and a lot of it's quite contradictory. And when you start looking at workouts, a lot of it is how to grow a booty, or how to lose a lot of weight and get fit for summer and get that beach bod in 2 weeks. And a lot of it I found was quite fad or trend driven, or it was a bit unrealistic, and it was do this in 2 weeks. And actually what I wanted to do was to help people make it more of a lifestyle. And so I thought I'd got a lot of experience myself from the journey that I'd been on for quite a lot of years. So that's when I decided to get some qualifications behind me. So that's when I studied with Future Fit to get my fitness training, and then went on later on to get my nutritional bits as well, because as I said before, I think it fits really nicely.
So you talked a little bit about your journey of getting into the fitness realm, and how did those experiences lead you to where you are right now with what you're doing?
One of the standout moments for me was, I think I must have been about 16 or 17, and I went to the doctors, and I'd lost a load of weight really unhealthily, and they said, well, they diagnosed me with polycystic ovary syndrome and said that I should go on a low GI diet. They gave me a leaflet and I was sort of sent on my way. And I just kind of thought, hang on a minute, this is one experience which wasn't necessarily a bad experience, because I know a lot of people have a lot worse diagnoses out there, but I thought it was just very reflective of the society that we live in, that we're just kind of told to get on with it, or not given enough information on how to put it into practice. So that's what kind of, I guess, then started my journey into learning more about it and wanting to give that information to other people. But I think as well, something that helped me, or not helped me, but encouraged me to start on this journey, was talking to friends and seeing how they put themselves down quite a lot, and they didn't see themselves as beautiful and as brilliant as I saw them. And I think a lot of our self-worth is attached to how we see ourselves, and it's not just what we feel worthy of in terms of our body and what we want to look like, but how we feel. And then that kind of ripples out into the rest of our lives as well, because I suppose if we're not confident and comfortable within ourselves, we don't feel like we're worthy of the job that we actually want, or a promotion within wherever we are, or like the lifestyle that we dream of. We think, oh no, that's for someone else, that's not for me. But I think it really starts with ourselves. And it's one thing to kind of see that about yourself, but once you start seeing it through friends and people that you care about, it's really heartbreaking. So I thought, need to do something about this. So that's what led me to it.
That's a lot to do with mindset, isn't it? So if you're not in the right mindset, if you're not thinking, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm guilty of it as well. We probably both are. You know, I wake up in the morning and think, I've got to do my workout, and do I want to do it? And I give myself 5 seconds. So I do this 5-second rule where I count to 5, and I have to get up within those 5 seconds, and then I go and do it. So it almost gives me that. So that's my mind telling me, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm up, and then I go and do it. Because if I do not get up in those 5 seconds, I know I tell myself in my head that I won't do it. So at the same time as well, the way that we look is so, well, it's so important to ourselves in society right now. And especially now, social media is a big thing. It's great. I love social media for the communication aspect, and to know that my friends are doing well, my family are doing well, especially in these times. And I think to look good on social media for people, I guess from the ages of, I don't know, 13, 14 upwards, because that's what it's aimed at, isn't it? Is just so essential for us to look good all the time. And you know, after a workout, for me, I will never post a full-on photo of my face after a workout, but I'll post like half of my face or a little bit of my background and show that I've got a mat, and that's my motivation. So I only do that for me. I don't do it for anyone else. But if it motivates that one person, then that's great.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm assuming you're trying to help, is if it even helps that one at the minute, helps that one person, then brilliant.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to, isn't it? If you can help, just like say, just one person, but then it could be that one person helps one other person, and it's just this big ripple effect. But you touched on so many good points there. There's the whole society and this pressure that we feel, and especially when we were growing up, I think well, in a way it's better now and in a way it's worse, but we had all of the magazines, and it was all very, I think, still quite taboo for women to be lifting weights or in the gym, and it was very gossipy, and girls were wags, and there wasn't really a huge amount of female strong independent icons and business women to look up to. Obviously you're really lucky because your mum's a business owner, and so you had that growing up as well. So I think for a lot of us growing up, it wasn't our fault, because we were kind of bombarded with this vision that society told us we should be. So overcoming that is a big thing. But like you say, with social media nowadays, it's better on the one hand, because a lot more people are coming out and showing that skin has texture, and that even if you have a 6-pack, when you sit down, we all still get belly rolls, and cellulite's a real thing, and like all of these things. I could go on and on, but then it's so scary on the flip side to see all these filters, and the fact that people are now coming out and saying, I'm not wearing a filter on this story or this post or whatever, and it's celebrated. But if we step back from that should just be a normal thing. We should just be showing our normal selves. But obviously we always want to put the best version of ourselves forward. But yeah, I think it's really interesting to be aware, like you said, coming back to that mindset element of it. And again, that's where I think the holistic approach to it is really key, because you can have a fitness plan or you can have a diet, but if you don't have the mindset and that willpower, then it all kind of, not all goes out the window, but I think it's not sustainable. So you can see results within a couple of weeks, but then that's why there's a popular phrase in the fitness world where losing weight isn't the hard part, it's keeping it off, because it all comes down to our habits. So yeah,
because we all like cake, that's the problem. So, but it's one of those things, joking aside, it's one of those things that, you know, I think with nutrition, I definitely deal with it very differently now. I'm in my 30s, because my body has changed completely, and you do have to think about it very differently. When you're in like your early 20s, you can lose weight. Well, I could lose weight so easily, and now it's very, very different. But I am very aware that I don't have to starve myself. It's about liking the food that you're eating as well, because then you can, like you said, maintain it and keep on going that way.
Exactly, because life is so short, and this is our one chance at this life, whatever you believe in outside of this life. But I just think, why are we punishing our bodies by starving them? And why are we restricting ourselves? This is just my beliefs, but I am all about balance. And I think we should eat cake if we want to, and we should have a couple of biscuits with a cup of tea, or, you know, enjoy a drink at the weekend, or whatever it looks like for each person. I think life's too short to be really restrictive and really boring, but it's about having that education. So I think comes back to when we go to Google to start with, or what we see in the magazine or on the news or even on social media, and we're told eating these kind of foods are good for us, eating these kind of foods are bad, or you have to work out for at least an hour, 7 days a week, or it has to just be cardio, or, you know, there's all this contradicting information. So it's that educational piece about knowing how your body produces energy, how it breaks down the foods that you're eating, so that it's not, it kind of removes this category of good and bad food or good and bad exercise. And it lets you make more informed decisions that's best for you and your lifestyle. So like you say, you can be happy and healthy with however that looks in your life.
I think research is key. Throughout these little talks that I'm doing with people, everybody has talked about education, everyone's talked about the right training, everyone's talked about research, how important it is to find the right person that you gel with, obviously, the right professional to gel with. I think that's really important. But at the same time, find somebody who just knows what they're talking about and is going to be true to you as well as themselves. They're not going to give you a pill that's going to make you lose weight in 2 days. That's being extreme. Nobody's done that for me at all. But, you know, it's about finding someone that's going to be realistic as well.
Yeah, exactly. I heard a really good analogy before about people thinking, oh, well, I shouldn't go into this profession because it's already being done, or why would someone want to work with me when there's already so many other people out there? But to think of it as an ice cream shop, and everyone's a different flavour of ice cream. And so you can be teaching the same thing as someone else, but it brings your flavour. And like you say, if you gel with someone because you've got a similar rapport or a similar personality type, then you're so much likely to see results. And that person's going to know how to motivate you better as well. You know, some people need tough love and need shouting at in the gym because that's going to help fire them through. And so that would make some people run a mile and never come back again. So yeah, very much about finding the right person.
And I think it's okay to say, actually, that isn't the right person, or, you know, actually, we aren't going to gel together, but I recommend you do X, Y, and Z.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And to be realistic, if somebody comes to me and says, I want to lose X amount of weight within 2 weeks because I've got a last minute holiday, oh, that's the dream, this is COVID times, or whatever it is, it's about being realistic to someone. And actually, I think as a coach, you get a lot more respect for that and putting their expectations in check in a loving and kind way, because you don't want to start working with someone when you know that you're not going to get them results, or that it's not going to be healthy, or that if it was weight loss, they'd just put the weight back on again afterwards. So yeah, definitely about finding the right fit for that person, and about our lifestyle as well, because someone who doesn't have a lot of commitments and has a lot of free time will have more time to be able to work out if they choose. Whereas if someone's not working out at the minute and then all of a sudden they want to get in shape and they say, yeah, I can work out 5 days a week, you know, you probably have that will and that momentum for about a week or two. And then once you get muscle fatigue and you realize that it's a bit much and it doesn't fit within your lifestyle, then unfortunately then it would start to unravel. So about being realistic with what fits for each person. And that's why I think coaches are so important. And I think just to quickly mention about like personal trainers or coaches, I think a lot of people think they're a big investment, and once you start working with them, you have to work with them for months and months and months. But actually it's okay just to have a consultation with someone so that you can get some pointers, and then you can start putting them into practice yourself. Or even if you wanted to work with someone and then check in once every couple of weeks. I would say that if people are interested but they're perhaps a little bit apprehensive, it's always worth a phone call or a message to a coach or a trainer, just to put it out there the way that you think would be the best way for you to work and to see if that's something that they could do as well, because it doesn't just have to be like a 6-week program or, you know, whatever it is that they're offering on their website or whatever. They might be able to do something that's custom, that works around each people's goals.
What is it that you have experienced personally that, obviously we spoke a bit about your doctor's experience, what have you experienced personally that was really, really good and you would think, right, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing?
Oh gosh, for me, well, I think it's just the impact that you can have on people. You know, when you, like what you said earlier, when you start working with someone and you can see that it helps just one person or a couple of people, and that is why I want to do what I do, because you can see that it transforms their life. And I think for me, like getting a bit more personal, there have been a couple of things that have happened in my life. So I lost my mum when I was quite young, and she had just turned 35. She didn't drink, she didn't smoke, she wasn't a party animal. She was very much like a stay-at-home mumsy mum. And it just made me realise growing up how precious life is and how precious our health is. And it's not until we get ill ourselves that we kind of take our bodies, that we appreciate our bodies. I think we take them for granted quite a lot. And so that, although that's a really low for me, it also, I've been able to turn it into a positive, and it's actually been a real, one of the main driving forces for what I want to do and how I want to help people, because thankfully a lot of people don't have that kind of experience, but and so we can take our lives for granted. So yeah, just about helping people to frame it and to have that perspective, to think about just how incredible our bodies actually are. You know, when we get sick, our immune system just gets straight to work and fixes things. If we break something, our body can like fix the bones. And so I think fitness and healthy eating doesn't have to be salads and a six-pack. You know, it's more about our overall health. So that's why I think it's really important to help people that I work with find their why, so why they're doing it. And like I say, it doesn't have to be an aesthetic thing. If it is, then that's absolutely fine. But for some people that I work with, it's because they want to be able to play with their kids without getting out of breath, you know, and or like walk up the stairs and do everyday things without aching. So I think it's really important to help people find their why, because as soon as I found that and I had that extra purpose, that really kind of lit a fire for me to help work with other people. So it's about helping other people find that within themselves so that they can look after their own bodies.
That's quite empowering what you've said. So I feel that you love the knowledge that you've got, you love the research that you're still going into. Learning never stops. I never think learning stops. You are continually learning through life lessons, through your industry lessons, you know, forever. So you've spoken a little bit about how you want to make people feel, but it's about how you feel as well. So let's say by the end of somebody's, I don't know, they've worked with you for 3 months. How do you want to feel, and how do you want their end result to feel? I understand it's bespoke to everyone because everybody's very different. Everyone has different goals, but how do you want your clients to feel empowered?
Well, I think that's the beauty of it. Although their results will be different, how they feel should be the same, and they, like you say, they should feel empowered. I want to always feel like I've done the best for that person, and I think that actually most of the time it's realizing that it doesn't always go to plan, in a good way, because you can set out at the beginning of the journey. You can work with someone and they give you a food diary or whatever it is, and you've got everybody's best case scenario, and actually it's that feeling of accomplishment and the relationship and the rapport that you build with that person over the journey that they've gone through in their transformation. Because not only do you see them achieving their goals, but I think when it comes to our health, because of how closely physical and mental health are linked together, you see a transformation in them that they didn't expect to happen, which is just, as a coach, it's just the most incredible feeling, because I think it just ripples out into all other areas of our life. Once we feel confident within ourselves, we start taking chances more, we start saying yes to more things and more opportunities. And so then to be able to talk with clients and see the positive things that they're changing in their life that has come as a result of the confidence that they've got from what they thought was maybe an aesthetic goal, is just absolutely incredible.
It's lovely to hear. I think your clients will be happy with that as well. So with, obviously our jobs are a lot to do with self-care, looking after, well, teaching people how to look after themselves at home a lot at the moment as well. Now that can be difficult because I don't know about you, but I like being face to face, especially with my job. I like being face to face with somebody. I like being able to see their energy, feel their energy, see where they're coming from. It's quite hard to do that sometimes over video, but we're doing it at the moment. Now, what forms of self-care do you use yourself? Because I think it's important for clients and customers and your audience to know that you're looking after yourself too. Because if we're not doing it, then why should they? So what do you do to look after yourself?
Well, exactly. And like you say, our busy jobs, and then I've got a just turned 1-year-old and a preteen stepson as well. So you can imagine how crazy life is. And actually, I think the main thing that I did for my self-care was being kind to myself. Before I had my baby, I had this grand plan. You know, you hear people talk about these 5 a.m. I'm going to journal, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do this and this. And in an ideal world, I would love to do that. But actually being kind to myself and realizing that now at this point in my life, I can't do that. So what can I keep control of? And just finding a few different things that you can do each day to look after yourself, I think is really important. So the things that I do every single day, I take 30 minutes in the morning for myself. So I always make sure I have a shower, I put some makeup on, and I put some clothes on that make me feel good. And so that could just be a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and a little bit of mascara. But, you know, just making sure that whenever I catch my reflection or if I'm on a Zoom call, I'm not, you know, I'm presentable, and it makes you feel better because you've cared for yourself that little bit in the morning. The second main thing that I do every single day is make sure I eat well. And as we said earlier, that's not to say that we don't eat cake or we don't have treats, but it's making sure that you've got staple meals throughout the day or staple snacks that are really good sources of carbohydrates and your other macronutrients. So things that are going to give you energy for longer, and they're not going to spike and crash your blood sugar levels, because that will help to keep you nice and regulated and your hormones nice and steady. So that I think has been a really big thing for me, whether it's food prep or just making sure that there's stuff in that I can grab. And the third thing that I do every day is paying attention to when I need to sleep. And this is something that took me a long time to do, because I was quite stubborn about, I don't want to go to bed at 8:30. And most of the time now it's around 9 o'clock. But I felt like before I was missing out by going to bed early. But actually, once you realise that how important rest is for your body, it's one of the kindest things that you can do. So those are my 3 things: sleep, eating well, 30 minutes to myself every day.
It's really good that you do that, as well as have your life whirling around you at the same time, because I think even if some people who don't have a 1-year-old and a preteen-year-old and have work and everything else to do wouldn't do that sometimes. But it is taking it one step at a time, isn't it?
Definitely. In an ideal world, and you know, at the weekends, or if I get it's quite rare, but if I manage to get a full hour lunch break, then it is nice to go for a walk. And I do try and fit in more self-care bits as and when I can. But it's about being realistic. And for me, if I know that there are a couple of things I can control, then it helps to keep me steady and to know that I'm doing these little bits for myself.
So we're in a world at the moment where we have to communicate through Zoom or video calls or social media. And I want to take that as a positive thing. So what would be the one thing that you took out of all of this that you want to carry on doing when we get through this whole ordeal?
I think it's the connective part of Zoom and social media for me. Like you say, I'm similar to you. I prefer to be in person with people, but I've actually been able to help people from different parts of the world just sometimes just through video DMs or voice note DMs. So I think it's quite empowering to know that the social media has been able to connect us with, as we said before, like-minded people, so that you can help them get their better results. And then going forwards, I think I've got a few different virtual workshops planned for the rest of the year. So I'm hoping that although I'll be able to get back to doing my in-person classes, I'm hoping to be able to keep those virtual spots as well, so that I can, as I say, reach new people, and whether they only come and work with me just for this one thing, but they can take that away into the rest of their lives, then that's great.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and it's just because it just popped into my head. Who inspires you? So is there anyone in particular that inspires you, or somebody along your journey that's inspired you, or a certain situation?
Oh gosh, that's a really good question. Lots of people inspire me, but I don't know if this is a bit of a silly answer, but courage inspires me. When I see other people, or when I found it in myself, when we're brave to go after what we want because we feel confident and we're being courageous, I think that really inspires me, because it helps to push us to be that next level of ourselves, or to always be the best version of ourselves. So yeah, I know it's a bit of a strange answer.
It's not at all. It's a great answer. I mean, I think I wish everyone had the courage to do the things that they wanted to do. There's obviously some people that don't, and hopefully these conversations will help people think, oh, actually, yeah, I can do it. And, you know, take that 5 seconds to go, yeah, I can do it, and get out of bed and then do it.
Exactly. For me, the worst thing in life is to have regret for not doing something. I think, like you said before, everything's a lesson. We're always learning, we're always evolving, and things won't always work out, but it doesn't mean that they were a failure. It means that you've learned something. You've probably met some great people along the way, and it's about how you take those experiences into the rest of your life. And like I said before about the finding your why, it's about thinking about who's looking up to you as well. I think whether it's just within a friendship group, whether it's within your family, if you've got kids, there's so many different scenarios where you might not think that you're a role model for other people, but actually you are. And it's not necessarily about doing these big crazy things, but it's about how you show up every day, what your mindset is, and what you believe is possible. And I think, as you were saying about the self-care tips that we take as business owners, we need to be showing other people that they need to do it too. So yeah, leading by example, even when you think no one's watching.
Yeah, well, gosh, yeah, because it's you're watching yourself, so you've got to. And I always think that word failure is such a harsh word, and I think it should never be a bad thing. Failure is a lesson, and at the time they might not feel like it, but they really, really are. And when I mean, like I said, I'm in my 30s, and I'm nearly, in my mid 30s, and you know, it's one of those things where I think, oh, I wish I'd have done that, and I wish I'd have done that in my 20s. But you've got to think of it, no, you did so much more. There was so much other things that you did, and so much that you've done in your life that, exactly, you know, that's been a good and positive thing. So no, it's been really, really lovely speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time. And is there anything else you would like to say?
Just to be kind to yourselves, I think is the main message that I want to say to people. And a huge thank you to you as well for having me on. It's been really nice to chat.
Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll be able to give you a hug soon.
I know. So invest in the relationship with yourself. It's the longest relationship that we're ever going to be in. So I think it's really important to be able to find a really good mindset and have really good gratitude for our bodies and what they can do. Nourishing our bodies from the inside out, good food, good movement, good rest, no matter, like you say, if you are changing career or whatever stage of life you're at, those are the 3 things that you can always do. And it can look different at different times, but as long as you're doing your best with those things, then I think you'll feel really good. And the final one, to make healthy a lifestyle, it looks different for everybody, and the most important thing is finding something that works for you, trying your best not to compare yourself to other people, and just show up for yourself. I think that's the important thing, isn't it? Like you said, with your 5 seconds to get out of bed, you know what motivates you, and there's nothing worse than feeling really disappointed in ourselves. So find what works for you, find your why, your reason why you're doing it, be clear about what you want, and be committed to doing it.
we have been the lady in the red bandana, and we want you to be empowered to believe in yourself.